Which Side Podcast is a proud member of the Which Side Media Collective.
This week's episode is brought to you by the Which Side Media Collective store. I was out of the country last month and forgot to turn off the sale, so we're having the sale still on sale because I forgot to turn it off. So,
hey, take advantage of it.
So what that means for you is that you can get totes still on sale for $7.50. All the totes are on sale.
All the totes.
So pick them up. WhичSideCollective.org.
This is episode 205.
Yeah, we talk with Jonathan Burrier.
This kid is fucking crazy. He's going to be running marathons all the time. He does ultras, and he's the most punk rock about it I've ever heard. I fucking love you, John. You just rock. You rock it. You keep rocking it.
Badassery.
Yeah, exactly, right? He's raising money with his running, so we'll have a link to that as well. And just, sit back and enjoy, because I enjoy John, and you should too. Hey, Jordan, what news and events do we have going on this week?
Well, tomorrow there's a call action to support Standing Rock. If you haven't heard about Standing Rock, you should check it out. There's also Striking a Blow, an audio documentary on the prison strike. And if you're going to be in Salt Lake City on Tuesday, that would be October 11th, the Salt Lake City Anarchist Black Cross is having its monthly prisoner letter writing night.
Be there or be square? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, be there or be square. If you're not in Salt Lake, or you just can't attend for any reason at all, you should write a letter at your own home, at your own pace, and whoop-pow.
Whoop-pow. For the slingshot this week, October 19th, 1987. That's when Black Monday happened. There was a worldwide stock market crash. Yeah, capitalism. It's fucking fantastic. I mean, I hope people get the sarcasm behind all of that. No.
Capitalist scum.
I sincerely hope you enjoy this episode.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side? Which side are you on? 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 Which side are you on?
So how's your day going so far?
It's good. I started a new job at like an organic grocery store, and I've been working like full time. So I had a day off, but I have another job that involves like riding a bike. So I just woke up and rode my bike like all day, and now I'm here.
When you say all day, what the hell does that mean?
So I wake up at like, I don't know, like 6 a.m. And I'll just bike until like, it's like 6 p.m. now. And yeah, I'll like eat while I'm riding.
So how many miles is that?
I don't know. I don't calculate it. I have like this, someone gave me a watch, like one of those like Fitbit things, Mm-hmm. And, you can't really wear them when you cycle, but like when you run, I've been wearing it, right? And it's like, but it's not working. Like it's like, yeah, but so someone has it set to like a certain, so it buzzes, like it goes off when you hit like, like 13 miles or something.
Uh-huh.
But it's supposed to send you like an update, like an email update, and I haven't been getting anything, but I've been monitoring, like I don't know. This is, yeah. I've been feeling the buzz. I've been hitting that 13 miles or something.
So you're at least biking 13 miles.
Yeah. Well, I'm at least running 13 miles twice a day.
Dang.
But yeah, because it doesn't. I need to find like a device to monitor activity on the bike.
I wonder if you wore it on your ankle, because that's kind of simulates. I don't know.
I was reading some forums, and people actually were like suggesting that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might work.
So what got you to the point of wanting to just be so damn active all the time?
I think like, so there's a few things, it's like definitely for the animals, you know what I mean? Because like breaking the whole like weak vegan stereotype, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And also probably like running away from some sort of like emotional trauma that like I can't really deal with in any other way. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So does any form of workout for you, does that give you that peace and that Zen moment, or do you really only find that like say like in running or biking or something else like rock climbing or?
Yeah, I think so. I guess like the physical exertion from drumming really like helped me realize running and cycling is like crucial. So I started running and cycling to like help my blast beats,
Okay.
Yeah. And but then I realized, it's actually like what I really loved about drumming wasn't like necessarily anything musical. It was more something like physical,
Oh, okay.
So I used to practice like 8 hours a day, and now like on this drum kit. Now I'm playing like less than 8 hours a week, and I'm just like I'm getting the same sort of like visceral satisfaction out of just like climbing trees and cycling and running. I don't know.
That's interesting. Because I mean, I've gotten that with writing, but no other forms of exercise. All other forms of exercise just feel like work, and I have to force myself to do it. But when I was at my peak of writing, I could just ride, like you said, for all day long.
Yeah.
I could get
it's a
from
great
running sometimes.
What's up?
Oh, I was just saying I could get it from running sometimes, but never cycling.
3 minutes doesn't count.
Okay.
No. Like I always like take my hat off to people who can do it, because it takes a lot of physical exertion out, and it's one of those things I've been trying to get myself back into, but I can't do it for the gain of just like it's good for your body because you're working out, right? That does nothing for me. It gives me no motivation, no desire, because I don't really give a shit about myself, and I do everything for outside things. Like you said, like doing it for the animals is a huge reason,
Yeah.
That type of thing motivate me.
For sure. Yeah. I think like that's the main reason now is to like, and that's why, I realized practicing drums so much, it became sort of like almost like an ego thing. And, now I realize like every aspect of my life, I just want to dedicate to like the animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what is your origin? Like what brought you to that point of wanting to dedicate yourself to the animals?
So yes, I just actually recently discovered this. So like, I didn't realize my backstory until recently. And like my girlfriend and I were in Thailand for a month, and we were originally there for like the Thai fruit festival, but we didn't end up attending because, for like various reasons. But we met this someone who was like ex-military, and she was dealing with some pretty intense PTSD, and she invited us into her like apartment. So we just sort of followed her, and we had this like really long conversation with her about like our origin story and like like what is your story basically. And I realized that I'm attracted to helping the animals because I'm like sincerely empathetic, in the sense that like so my father is an alcoholic, right? And I was raised in like sort of like an abusive atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And there was like some like really intense physical shit that went on, and I realized that like no matter how horrific like whatever I was experiencing is like the animals are always going to have it worse, And so, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, is that kind of like how you help cope with going through those times? Was looking at people that had it worse, so it's made it feel more okay?
Yeah, maybe. I think like, I don't know. Primarily, it was just like, it was a strange time because it was just like I was really into like really like early AFI, like I don't know, like Black Sails, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I was in like middle school or something. And I don't even know if I was like looking at other people's lives. I definitely, you know, I was into The Locust, and I was like reading interviews about, you know, how a lot of times, you know, like we unknowingly fund, you know, like chemical warfare and things. And you know, I was getting like really into punk and like politics and stuff from like a super early age. But in that way, I think I was also turned on to like veganism, you know, and, you know, you see like when you grow up, you know, like PETA had a bunch of videos. I'm trying to like Goldfinger helped expose me to some of these things, is like seeing what actually, and Earthlings, obviously, seeing what actually goes on. It's like, if you have the ability to like help any animal in any situation, or like not, you know, vote for something horrible with like, you know, even when you're a kid and you don't have money to spend, you know, just asking your mom, hey, like, don't make me like a ham and cheese sandwich. Instead, just like give me peanut butter or something, like peanut butter and jelly. It's like, I feel like that was huge for me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to like make this connection verbal, though.
Do you have like any pivotal moment that, when, not necessarily like the moment that like you went vegan or the moment you became an activist, but that pivotal moment where you really felt that there was a change? Because like for me, it was about a week after I went vegan, and I got into an argument with my parents, and then I was like, oh, now I'm digging my heels, and you know, that was the pivotal change for me. It was a little bit after the actual decision.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so this is kind of like an interesting story, I guess, as well. Is like there was this band called Thin Dark Line, and their vocalist was vegan, and they were like a band that we had like church shows and stuff, like in the basement of churches, like in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And he now owns like a cycling apparel company that puts out like Team Vegan jerseys, and like I'm like a brand ambassador for this company, and like because we hadn't seen each other for like, I don't know, like 15 years or something, and then we meet up, and I remember like he made a post on MySpace about like, you know, like Oreos are vegan, and I was like, holy shit, Oreos are vegan. And then so I like started doing more research, like what else is vegan, you know? Like, I think Swedish Fish and like Sour Patch Kids were like my other two favorite like junk foods or something at the time. And I guess that was like a fairly pivotal moment, because like, I don't know, that whole like vegan on accident kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was just like, I don't know if this is like a bad thing to say, you know, just like an immense amount of sort of like passionate hatred for like, you know, like the things I felt like my father was putting me through, and like why would I put an animal through like worse, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that for me was, I don't know, crucial.
How were your friends and family during this transition period?
Not supportive at all. Like I was raised on like bacon and eggs and Scrapple, and I was eating like, you know, like 9 homemade hamburgers, like the thick, like crazy ones, like in one sitting. Like I was eating pepperoni sticks as a child, like it was bad. And so I guess everyone in this atmosphere, for them to see me as sort of like, you know, just like do something like that was unaccustomed to this, they couldn't wrap their brains around it, I guess. But now like my younger brother is vegan. My mom is running her first marathon this year. She's ran like half marathons previously, but she's vegan now.
Oh.
Yeah, like my girlfriend at the time, like transitioned to being vegan, I guess, like 3 years ago, and she's like lost like 30 pounds. Yeah.
So that's one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, and myself included, is how to get family members to really become vegan, how to get them to change their lifestyle. I've been completely unsuccessful through the many years of trying. So what was your story of actually getting them to come along?
I think it's just like them seeing, like, you know, I'm not depressed. I'm like, I can like run like hundreds of miles, like with like no like detriment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't experience like muscle fatigue or anything. Like, I think it's just them seeing what's actually them, like witnessing this sort of thing where it's like, I just feel like I'm on like I'm not saying that, you know, steroids are a good thing, but I just feel like I'm on drugs all the time. And I think it's like the increased oxygen uptake from these foods like we're supposed to be eating, you know what I mean? And also when you can see how happy someone is that they're not like, you know, that they're doing their best to avoid contributing to any sort of like pain or suffering, you know? I feel like there's just this, I don't know, a lot of vegans, I know there's like a glow that sort of emanates from within, and you can just like, you can approach animals in a more honest way, knowing it's like, you don't contribute to, you know, you don't contribute to their suffering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I've never personally like had that enjoyment of not having like muscle fatigue, or I definitely don't have a glow about me.
My chest hurts when I run. I can't breathe.
Yeah, there's also like there's been tons of unsuccessful, like, you know, like I don't go to Thanksgiving or like Christmas dinners anymore because I'm tired of just like having people try and challenge me. And then if I offer people to like, if people want to talk about like amino acid profiles and they can't name any of the amino acids, and then I like ask them if they want to like arm wrestle or something and they don't want to do that either, it's kind of like, so what do you, like, you know, I'm just being trolled. You know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, I don't know none of the amino acids either.
It's all good. It's all good.
I mean, when I said I really don't care about my health, I've never looked at the health side of being vegan ever. So
yeah. I think that like for people who don't like, this is like one of my main things is like, I'm not like a health vegan, but for people who don't care about animals, it's like one way for the vegans who do care about animals to get some of those people to switch over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think it is. I think we find a lot of success when we talk about like lifestyle veganism. But when you look at like how long they stay, I think we have to stay being vegan. All the research kind of points to usually no more than 10-ish years is usually the peak if they're changing just for lifestyle reasons, right?
But I think most of them find their way into ethical veganism.
I think, so that's the the key is that then transitioning in that time frame into becoming an ethical vegan, because you'll last a lot longer. I guess it's the right terminology. We call it lasting, being cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important for sure.
I know that my mom, I think she initially went vegetarian for health, but I think that animals are starting to become more of a part of her choice. Just needs to make that further jump.
Yeah, she's like on the edge when you talk to her.
Yeah,
she really is.
So that's the small victory that I've had.
So let's just kick her really hard. So how did you get involved with the Humane League and start the work that you're doing now?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't want to use the word blessing necessarily. I guess I'll just use it though, for lack of like better words. It's like blessing in disguise is like, so my girlfriend got me more involved in activism. So it's kind of, I wasn't really involved in much activism. I've always wanted to be. I haven't owned a car for like a long time. So it's been kind of rough to like make it to so many events, you know? But like I tag along with her, and I found out that they do this fundraiser where it's like you can say that you're doing something like athletic, and you can like get people to like contribute money to your page, and all the like 100% of everything just goes to educating people on how you know, animal welfare is like an interconnected social justice issue. And so like I just
So how does the program work? Like you just sign up, and then you can raise money for doing, like, is it by like miles? Is it by completing challenges?
Yeah, so like basically like whoever wants to donate money you get like an email notification when they do, so you can like hit them up and like thank them. But it's not really like by miles or anything like that. They have like a template that when you're creating your profile, it's like, you know, you can say like you're hiking, running, swimming, biking, and you also have like some triathletes that are just like doing all three. And they typically will just use the hashtag like for the animals. And I actually need to figure out a better way to raise money because I'm not that awesome at raising money, but trying.
So, what are you doing out of those three? Are you doing all three of those? Are you doing just running? Are you doing cycling as well?
So I'm really bad at swimming. Like I'm like really, like I can swim, like I can keep myself alive, but like I'm like really bad at swimming. So I was trying to think of something crazy that like I can like, you know, get people like to donate to my page. You know what I mean? So I'm running the Baltimore 5K like same day directly before the Baltimore Marathon, and then biking 2,000 miles.
Like directly after 2,000 miles?
Whenever I can, like I got to get like a GPS. So after the marathon, whenever I can make it happen. Since I got this new job, I have to see if they'll give me some time off so it'll probably take like 2 weeks or something.
Wow. Do you have any plans about where you're going to travel?
I was going to do Baltimore to Florida, but there's not really so much down that way. So I might go the opposite direction instead. Like up.
Okay.
To Canada?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're doing the Baltimore Marathon. To do that, you have to qualify, right? So this is clearly not your first marathon.
Yeah, so I don't know where the money goes when you sign up for the Baltimore Marathon. So whenever I've done it, I've never paid. I just show up and run. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, because it's like nice being like, what I do is I don't have like I told you, I don't have a watch, so I just keep pace with like people who do have like really nice watches, and I just like will run. Yeah.
Awesome. That is the most punk way of running a marathon I've ever heard in my life.
Thanks.
That's so good. That is fucking awesome. I'm going to be honest. I love every aspect of that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So do you try to like just organize your whole life that way, like with kind of like punk ethos? I mean, you kind of stated that punk really helped you get into animal rights and kind of gave you almost a little bit of an awakening. Do you still feel that way? Like that does it still kind of hold that place for you?
Yeah, for sure. But I've been struggling recently with like, I'm not trying to like hate on anyone's aesthetic or like ideology, but I've been struggling recently with like the lack of vegans in certain punk communities. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you mind being a little more specific?
Yeah. I mean, like, so, I'm trying to think of like the best example, but it's like basically it's like I know a lot of people who are like in Baltimore here who like are really into punk, super politically informed, like, you know, like great musicians. And it's like, it's like you have a dog, you have a cat, but it's like you don't care about animals like in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a bummer to see, like, you know, some like, I know people, like I actually on one of your former podcasts, I heard the, you know, never trust an ex-vegan thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I know people who have been vegan for like 10 years and it's like all of a sudden it's like the paleo thing, you know what I mean? Like they just flip.
It's a strange flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting because I mean, I kind of grew up in the punk and then hardcore scene, and I don't know what it is like now. As I've gotten older, I've kind of stepped away from it. But it always bothered me that all these huge bands, to me, were like super influential. But locally, there was influence, but you would see like it would only be like 10-15% of the scene was really being influenced by what a lot of these bands were actually about.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like what you're feeling locally there as well?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I just want people to make the connection. It's like, I mean, here it's like really heavy on like PC, LGBTQ, like, you know, like the Baltimore riots and everything, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I just want people to make the connection. It's like, you should love animals and like, you know what I mean? Like dogfighting is still huge here too. Like, it's a little like, you know, underground, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still like, it's still huge. I mean, like West Baltimore is like dogs chained up in people's backyards and it's like crazy. You know what I mean?
That's insane.
Yeah.
I thought dogfighting was illegal everywhere.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just no real enforcement.
Yeah. I mean, like, Baltimore, even if something's illegal, it's like there's people with dirt bikes driving over cop cars. Like it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get it.
So it's like, even if something's illegal, it's like, then like, no, you know, it's not enforced. Like nothing's really enforced. I think that, and this might be kind of a stretch and like, kind of like people might be like, oh, I'm kind of like a conspiracy theorist, but it's like, I think that when, like, if cops can shake you down for drugs and like sell those drugs, that becomes something that's like sort of enforced because someone else can like benefit off it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's a lot of things like that where it's like, I feel like, yeah, I've just seen some crazy shit go down. It's like police won't do anything about it, you know, unless they can benefit directly off it.
So has music influenced other ideologies within yourself? Like, where do you find yourself on either other social justice movements or political leanings or on that kind of spectrum of things?
Yeah, I mean, so this is like another aspect of my life is like, I was like strictly dating dudes from the time I was like, I don't know, 15 to like 19 or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like this was like a little bit before it was like completely accepted. Like it was kind of, I think before like the whole like Lady Gaga, Katy Perry kind of like, you know, like it's okay to be gay kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So like dealing with the oppression, I feel like, you know, the gay community deals with is kind of like, I can also connect that to like, you know, animal rights. Yeah, I feel like it's just all encompassing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answers the question completely, but
No, yeah, I think that, yeah, we talk about intersectionality a lot on the show, and I think like a lot of things are connected.
yeah.
So you mentioned that you had like church shows. Do you have a religious upbringing?
So I was raised Catholic, and and then I was sent to a Lutheran school. And now, I mean, I guess I would say I'm like atheist, but I still like to use, I think it's like the first page, it's like in Genesis, it says, I've given you every green plant for food. I like to use that one a lot.
So when you say you were raised Catholic, was that just like a Easter, Christmas only Catholic, or is that, midnight mass Catholic?
Yeah, it's interesting because we kind of did like the fair weather Christian thing, but we also kind of, I think like everyone was aware that we were like fair weather Christians, so like we would try not to be, you know what I mean? So so like, yeah, I was still taking communion and stuff throughout, but what I would do is I would save my communion and I would just like take it home and just like store it somewhere because I didn't want to eat it.
So you didn't want to, was it because of like a vegan thing or because of just not wanting to eat it thing?
Yeah, it was definitely like symbolic because like it's like, this is something I can control in my life when everything else is like turbulent and insane. Like I can control like, what I put in my body. And then it's also just sort of a thing where it's like, yeah, I even then I didn't identify with any like I was like really into like Marilyn Manson and like, as you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I find that super interesting. Do you think that, like veganism was also kind of the same way with you, where it was that aspect of yourself that you can control? Like I can control what's going into my body, even though I've lost so much control in everything else.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
How does that like, how does that relate into your activism today? Does it make you go out and do a lot more, or does it kind of like make you feel like you have to only do things you can individually, have that control over?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way to answer that. Or like, I'm not sure I actually completely understand your question. Like
with saying that the choice of being vegan had a lot to do with, that is an aspect of your life you can control. Do you feel yourself still doing that to this day, where only doing things like if you can control over them, or kind of giving yourself up and following like others' leads and doing things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess the most familiar context in which I like follow other people's leads is like probably like musical context, and like because being in a band is sort of like being in a relationship with like like 5 other people, like, and it's like everyone's schedules is sort of, so yeah, like that's been kind of something. But I think I'm branching away from that, and I don't know if it's a control thing, but I'm trying to have my own like I feel like up until this point I haven't necessarily really had control over most aspects of my life. Like in a first sort of like in a first world kind of way, if that makes sense. Like
yeah. Do you feel like that also contributes to why you like to just like go out and ride all day long, because you have control over that aspect? Like it all of a sudden that's the you don't have to focus on anything else. You can control just doing one pedal at a time, or you can control, one step at a time when you're running.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And I think it's also like wanting to like move at my own pace in the sense of like, like if I'm running like with somebody and it's like, oh no, like, like 5 miles, 10 miles, like, let's just stop here. It's like, I don't want to like, I just want to like make myself suffer as much as possible so I can identify with like the suffering of others. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that feels like a very Catholic guilt kind of mentality, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, actually, so yeah, one of the guitarists from one of the bands I'm in, he's from Israel, and he always tells me that I'm very Catholic. Yeah,
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I should judge it either way.
So you said you identify now as an atheist. Well, what was that transition period like for you? Like, what made you go down that path of questioning your faith and moving away from it?
Yeah, I think it's probably like the aspect of like seeing people who claim like, do unto others or like turn the other cheek or like go to church every Sunday. Like, it's like you're killing animals. Like you're paying somebody else to kill animals for you. And you're like, you know what I mean? It's like, I think I was like trying to just point out the hypocrisy and, I don't know. Like, I'm also really into like the anarcho-primitivism thing. And like, I realized that like, it is hypocritical to be like, I'm born into a society where it's like, I don't own a cell phone or a car or anything like that. And I haven't for years. And it's like, that's not a thing where it's like, I'm not saying that to like brag about it. I'm just saying it because it's like one of those things where it's, I'm just doing my best to like, fulfill this ideology, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to go on tangents or anything. I just like, I'm trying to verbally, it's just hard to explain some of the things I'm like, I'm feeling when you're asking these questions. Sorry.
Oh, no, I totally get it. If you don't mind, like, I would love to go down the primitivist aspect for a second. We've had quite a few primitivists on, and it's one of those ideologies that I love the idea of, but I can't grasp the actual implementation of, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I kind of like, I like getting other people's opinions about it and their thoughts about it, because since I kind of struggle with the whole idea for myself, because I do, like, it's interesting you say, I haven't had a cell phone in years. I'm not trying to brag. And in certain circles, saying that is, admitting to like a failure. And in other ones, it's like, haha, look how good I am, right? I find that very interesting. But the aspects of like primitivism, like, I love the idea of not having a phone. I love the idea of getting rid of certain technology. But I also love the idea of treating disease. And I love the idea of helping people and having tools and feeding people and creating shelter. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. And I think like, so for me personally, I feel like it's like, I feel like if like the medical technology could like continue, like if most evolution could stop at like the bicycle or something, but some of these other things could still be pushed farther, I feel like that would be ideal. So you don't even go like pre-industrial revolution, because the bicycle was what late 1800s?
I feel like I've done some research, and I feel like it's even like I've seen some like medieval bicycles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like made of like wood, like the entire thing's just like made of wood, and you push it with your feet, like there's no pedals or anything.
My daughter had one of those when she was learning to ride a bike.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was kind of like just equating it with the big wheel, little wheel kind of bikes that we are familiar with in, this Western culture.
Yeah.
I was actually watching Jungle Book today, and I was thinking about anarcho-primitivism, and I was thinking if fire is considered a tool, and how would you stay warm if fire is not, or if it is considered a tool?
No, yeah, I feel you.
So, I mean, if you go by, I don't want to put words in Zirzan's mouth, but if you go by what he told us, which was, if it's specialized, if you have to teach it to somebody, then that's domestication. And being able to use fire is something that you would have to teach. It's not something that would be naturally known. Mm-hmm. So that would be domestication. So it wouldn't really be a part, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I feel like what people used to do to stay warm, and this is like kind of like a horrible thing, is like, but about like sort of like slicing open an animal and sleeping inside the animal.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
That's like, I think that was, I don't know how common that was, but I feel like it was probably fairly common, depending on like, like the region.
Yeah, and again, like that's where like this is where we get into the weeds, like primitivism. So you take like someone like Zirzan, who says he's against anything that's domesticated, and he defines that as the specialization of something, right? Would that be common? Like that, would that be like the first thing you would think of if you needed shelter, or is that something you would have to be taught and quote unquote specialize in? Right, so would that even really be a part of primitivism? And you would need a knife to cut open the creation of a knife. Is that really something that wouldn't require specialization? This is where getting into the weeds.
This is where I have a hard time.
Yeah,
I just don't understand. I guess most of the time, I think.
But it's like even if you found say for instance you find like a coconut, right, and you you're like breaking this coconut open on the ground, or you're like taking the husk off with a stick. It's like. I feel like, like humans are pretty creative, and to think to use the stick to get off the husk is like, I guess technically you're using it as a tool, but it's like, it's almost like art. Like it becomes like that stick becomes a piece of art once you decide to use it as a tool. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You mean like it becomes other than original, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, and that's where I like getting into the weeds of it. And I'm not saying all primitives feel this way, but I know Zirzan does. He wants to get rid of art as well. So that kind of thinking just blows my fucking mind.
But yeah, again, I guess it's just like, it's just the ideology, and it's like, I feel like talking about this, like if someone was like, they could be like, calling us out on making like sort of like appeal to nature fallacies or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, it's like it's nice to think about, but also it's like it's history, so it's like you can't really know for sure,
And I love, like I said, I love the talking about it aspect, but whenever I think about it, it's like, well, if at one point we evolved to, because really the whole purpose of life, if you're kind of like an atheist like I am, is to breed your species, right? That's kind of like what all life is to the procreation of an individual species, and whatever makes that easier or more likely to obtain, you're going to do, right? So if you develop fire and that makes it easier for you to procreate because you can now live longer and procreate more, then it's just going to continually build upon itself, right?
Yeah.
So we would
I think so.
Yeah, I think we'd end up back to where we are anyways.
Yeah. No, I feel you for sure. I think what really gets me is like, and I feel like, people who even aren't anarcho-primitivist or can, like not that you actually can be an anarcho-primitivist, but you know what I mean? It's just like the cell phone, the cell phones like really get me, like the texting and driving really bothers me. Like, I don't know. Like things like hair dryers or like irons or like washing machines, like dishwashers, guns. I don't know.
It's an interesting leap. Dishwashers, guns.
Yeah. Well, so the way my brain works sometimes is I make all these connections, right? And like, so that connection actually came from, I was running in the woods once, and I go off the trail a lot. And I found like this entire kitchen set of like, it was like insane amount of like home appliances just like set up by all these pine trees with like bullet holes. So I thought of guns.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But what
That's
doesn't
how my
make
brain works.
But why is somebody pulling out appliances to use as target practice?
It's where I live. Like I live like 10 miles outside the city. And, so like there's a lot of hunters here. There's actually like a hunter that I think I've seen them before, and I know for sure they've seen me before, but he like will leave me notes on the path and stuff and like hang deer corpses from trees and things. So that's like,
wow,
that's where I am.
Look, what kind of notes is he leaving?
Like notes that say things like, like keep on running and like just sort of like cryptic sort, stuff.
He's trying to motivate you? Like, or is he saying like, keep on running because I'm behind you? Like,
dude, that's like super PMA. It's like, Like I wish I thought he was trying to motivate me, but no, he's definitely like, I think he thinks I'm trying to sabotage his hunts or something, because I've definitely like sabotaged a few of them.
He thinks I'm gonna do it because I've done it.
But I think it wasn't on purpose before. I don't know.
Like you'd just be
That's
running
awesome.
and happen to screw up him because you're running by.
Yeah, it's like I'm making noise and there's like the deer are going to run away. They're going to be freaked out that a human's like running through the forest,
That's whenever I'm up by a lake and people are fishing, I like to try to throw rocks where they're fishing, just because. It's
Dude, I do the same thing.
And your partner gets super mad.
Yes, she does. She gets very mad.
I actually, so this is so this is like completely separate instance in a completely separate area, but like I'd say like, so I live 10 miles outside the city, and this location is probably like 10 or 15 miles from where I am. I was actually attacked by a hunter, and because I just saw something I wasn't supposed to see, and because I was just we were sitting in a car dropping off one of our friends, and this deer runs up to the car with like an arrow sticking out of the heart region, sawed off antler, because you could tell it was like a clean cut, and like broken legs, and like this deer comes right up to the car, and just like we see like this insane close up, just like everything just bleeding out, and then he jumps over this like guardrail into this forest. And I asked somebody if like they saw this, they saw this deer, because it looked like they were looking for something. And I was like, we called these numbers, we don't know what to do, or like who can help. And it turns out that the person I approached was actually like the poacher. And this is like a residential area, so there's like kids playing and stuff, and he's just like shooting deer.
Wow.
So I intentionally didn't fight back. I ended up getting 5 fractures, like around my eye socket, and like my jaw is like all TMJ'd out, and like it got all broken up and stuff. But so me not fighting back, actually, like the court case went better than I think it would have if I decided to fight back. Because like the laws here in Maryland are like, even if someone breaks into your house, it's like if you do anything to defend yourself, you're pretty liable.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what escalated that situation to that point?
Nothing really. It was basically just like, I was like, yo, did you see this happen? Because this was like really intense. And we called numbers. We don't know what to do. And I had a friend who got out of the car and started sort of like freaking out. And I think his freak out kind of escalated things a bit. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I just mentioned what we saw, the guy was like immediately sort of self-incriminating, kind of like acting really intense. He may have been drunk. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is, like that just seems insane to me. But that is the reason that like people that do like actual hunt sabs all the time, like purposely, my hat's off to them, because it's a very dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's rough because it's like, most people sabotaging hunts or something they're not like carrying weapons. I mean, like, like firearms typically.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I know of, at least. And it's like you have someone who's practicing shooting at targets for like, decades. It's just like, yeah, it's rough.
So to change topics a little bit, you're also a registered plant-based whole foods nutritionist?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, what does that mean?
So, I took this course through Cornell to become certified in like whole foods, plant-based nutrition, basically as like a credential to eliminate like, arguments and confusion between people who are trying to like challenge my education, or like challenge that humans are supposed to consume one thing over another. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also just because I wanted to like educate and inform, motivate and inspire myself to like do something with that in the future, possibly.
So now that you have that, can you enlighten me on every way I'm doing veganism wrong?
I don't think I see. The thing is, as long as you're like eliminating pain and suffering and trying not to contribute to that whole, like, I think you're not, there's no way you can do it wrong. It's like, you know, like I still eat, like I'm still like baking like tons of bread, eating tons of gluten, eating tons of like vegan pizzas all the time. And like, you know, I'm like,
so that's my breakfast. So
no, I feel you. I think like the only thing I really avoid is like burnt things, like when they're burnt, like to the point where they're like straight up black.
But charred
yeah.
things are so good. Like charred Brussels, so damn delicious.
Is there a reason behind the burning? Sorry.
Yeah, just like the carcinogenic nature of like burnt anything. You know what I mean?
I burnt pancakes this morning and I ate them. That's why.
Also, the taste just kind of, I think it's like, I don't like the taste that much. Like, I was hanging out with someone like a long time ago and they had like burnt pretzels. And I was like, in New York, they actually sell like burnt pretzels in bags at like grocery stores.
Wait, what?
Huh.
Yeah, like you can get like black pretzels.
That's interesting.
That's taking pretzel eating to another level.
Yeah, I was like, yo, people buy these and they're like burnt. That's crazy. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I would say that Brussels is the only thing I intentionally char. Not like a lot, but just, you know, a little more than like caramelizing.
Yeah.
I'll do a char on like a veggie burger or a veggie dog too. Like,
oh yeah, like a good veggie dog. Yeah, I like that little char on there. So basically, what you're saying is I'm gonna die.
No, you know. Apparently, yeah. I was like that. The friend I was telling you is like now paleo. He was actually telling me, he's like, yeah, you need to eat like a lot of that burnt shit for it to like, you know, affect you in any sort of negative way. So I don't know where he read that, but like I'm trying to do more research on it. But
all I know is I eat so much sugar that I don't need to worry about anything that's burnt. Like that's way before.
You know how we talked about Oreos and Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish? Those are just staples.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things in those that kind of freak me out is just like the artificial, artificial colors or artificial flavors or anything like that. I'm just kind of like, I don't want to be like a health vegan like at all, you know, like I don't want to be that guy, but
so why are you that guy?
I don't want to be, I don't know. It's just like, I just like gravitated towards, I think it's, you know, it's a way for me to convince people who, like I was saying before, it's like a way for me to convince people who don't care about animals to like at least take a step and like sort of like dip their foot into this giant sort of like lake that is like, you know, why they need to not be eating, you know, animals. Yeah.
So how can people actually support you in your work with the Humane League and doing the running and biking for that? But then also you're in a band. So how can they also get in contact with you about that and support you for that?
Yeah. So for the Humane League, I can send you the link, and if the link is in the show notes, they just click on that link and they can donate from there.
Okay.
And then, so one of the main bands I'm in, the one that like tours the most, is called Les Rhinoceros, like LES Rhinoceros. And actually everyone in the band, it's like a 3-piece. There's more people on the record, but, all 3 members are completely vegan.
Awesome.
So that's good, because if you're supporting the band, it's like, you know that your money is being spent on things that, you know, are good.
And then
I will.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No, you're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, do you have a link for the band as well?
Yeah, I'll actually send you. Is it cool if I send you like a? I'm trying to think of the best format to send you the audio in.
MP3 is usually pretty good. Unless you have a download link, then we can do other forms as well. Pretty much any of them we're cool with.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I'll send you a few different links then.
Okay. Perfect. And we'll put a song at the end for everyone, and then all the info in the show notes of how they can support you.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm a longtime fan of your podcast.
Well, we end every episode saying "fuck shit damn." So do you want to do that for us this week?
Yeah. Fuck shit damn.
This week you heard,
Habu Valley by Tom Brennan.
and right now you're listening to
Airplane Shadows by Killa.
iTunes. Every week, we ask you to go rate and review us. And I wanted to give a shout out to Just Another Guitar, who left this review for us, titled Vegan Horizontal Feminist. They wrote, "It's a great podcast, but could perhaps have more of a critique of settler colonialism, especially on Turtle Island." Very true.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
fair enough.
Fair enough. Thank you. And we'll look into that. So go rate, review us, and we'll give a shout out to you.
If you haven't yet, rate and review us on iTunes. And if you don't have iTunes and you prefer a different podcast aggregate, rate us on that too. We're on Google Play Store, Stitcher, and YouTube, and a number of others. So,
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, there we go. So whatever you listen to us on, rate us on that. It helps us out. We love you. And do you know what you do with people you love? You be their friends on social media.
Oh, I thought you talked bad about them behind their back.
Well, that too, usually.
You
But-
can do that on social media.
Yeah. Or you can tell us to our face how much you hate our banter. So follow us at whichsidepodcast.com. Click on the social tab. And you can follow us on all of our social medias. We often talk about things on there that we don't talk about on the show. And often means pretty much all the time.
Well done.
Thanks. This is hard work.
It's very hard work. Holding these mics is very heavy. We don't normally have to do that.
No. I just got done driving forever. 6 hours or something. I don't know. No, it wasn't. But kind of felt like that way.
Fuck shit, damn.
Fuck it down.
Whichside Podcast is hosted and produced by Jordan Halliday and Jeremy Parkin of the Whichside Media Collective, with web design by Jordan Halliday and sound design by Jeremy Parkin. Booking by Mari Halliday. Theme music by Commandantes. Go to whichsidecollective.org to check out the other shows in the collective. As always, fuck shit damn.